River tables are awesome, but after I built my own, something bothered me. My river table didn't look like a river. In fact, it didn't even look like water. So I challenged myself to see if I could make an epoxy pour look like real water. And you're gonna want to stick around all the way to the end because I'm gonna share with you my 3 keys that really make this work. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. And if we earn your like by the end of this video, then hit that thumb for us. I'll be carving, sanding, and polishing my way to my favorite thing I've made yet. But that's skipping ahead. Let's start at the beginning. Before I started experimenting, I needed to do some research to figure out what water looks like in the wild. Some Google image searching and some quick 3D rendering, and I discovered something pretty important. Water isn't flat. In rivers and oceans, there are divots and peaks on the opposite of those divots where the energy's actually flowing through the molecules and the river itself. That means we're gonna have to approach this a little bit differently. We're gonna need a thick epoxy pour that stays clear, some carving discs on an angle grinder to carve our divots, and a good helping of sanding and polishing to get it back to that beautiful finish. So we know where we're headed and we know what we need. It's time to get our hands dirty and our clothes a little dusty. Challenge 1 is a deep pour epoxy that'll stay crystal clear even when we're pouring a large, thick section. For this, I'm using Alumilite's amazing deep pour. Other deep pour epoxies can't handle the depth that we need. They get hot, they shrink, they crack, and worst of all, they end up turning yellow. Amazing deep pour is different and keeps the heat and yellowing at bay, so your project turns out beautifully. To get the basic table shape, I just used 2 pieces of birch plywood I had laying around, mixed up a big batch of amazing deep pour, and then poured it all in one go. Challenge number 1, done. Challenge number 2, it's time to put our divots in this table. I'm using a cut-saw shaping disc on my angle grinder to pull this off. But a note before we just keep going. This is a safety first situation, folks. That means safety glasses, face shield, and definitely a respirator. We're atomizing the resin here, and that means you can inhale it. We don't want that. Be safe, work smart. Now that we've got our rough shaping done, it's time for challenge number 3. That means a bunch of sanding to get this thing back to a crystal clear finish. I grabbed my orbital sander, my respirator, a stool, and my headphones for sure, and made myself really comfortable. What sanding grits did I use, did you ask? Oh, I'll tell you. 40, 60, 80, 120, 180, 220, 320, 400, 600, switch to Abralon disc, go to 500, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. Catch that? All right, I'll slow down a little bit. It was 40, 60, 80, 120, 180, 220, 320, 400, 600, then switch to the Abralon disc, you know, the ones that have a little bit of like a foam buffer on them. Did 500, 1000, 2000, 3000, and then did my final sanding with 4000. Even though I've been sitting down, this whole like detail, finessing, all this type of stuff, please let this look good. That's what's in my mind right now, dude, is please let this look good. At this point, we are almost there. All we need to do is the final polish. So I grabbed my buffer, loaded up the pad itself and the table, and then gave this thing its final shine. But Before we show you the final results, I want to talk to you, as promised, about my 3 keys that made this thing successful in the first place. Number 1, be random with your carving. If you make it too linear and too structured, it's not gonna look like real water. Number 2, stay at 40 grit until all of those scratches from the shaping disc are out of there. I stayed at 40 grit for 3 passes. It's worth it. If you don't do this, you're gonna have scratches in your final product. It's not gonna look good. The third and final one, and this may seem obvious, but water isn't blue. Keeping your pour crystal clear actually helps trick the mind into thinking that it's real water. All right, enough of that. It's the moment of truth. Does this look like real water? That's for you to decide, and let me know in the comments below. Matt, roll that beautiful bean footage. This was a fun challenge, and it was only possible because of amazing deep pour. Sorry, it's a little dusty from all the carving and sanding still. If you want to try this for yourself, head over to alumilite.com, grab some for yourself, and share your photos and videos with us. In the meantime, subscribe and like below. Catch you next time.